The next stop on our, I guess, trek on learning more about high school football in Region 11 is to find out what's going on with Green Canyon Wolves. New head coach with a new era with Green Canyon, and JT Tauiliili joining us now in studio to give us a perspective of who he is and what the Green Canyon Wolves look like so far this year. Coach, thanks for spending some time with us today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and I appreciate it.
Let's just start with kind of your background with coaching. You've been an assistant coach at a couple different stops near the area. What was it that attracted you to Green Canyon and ultimately getting that head job there?
A big reason why I was interested in Green Canyon is I had already been, I was there the first 2 years that it opened. I was on Coach Anders' staff while he was at Skyview. So I coached with him for 4 years there and then made the move with him to Green Canyon for 2 years. So to be able to come back to a place that we were already familiar with, a place that I already had strong relationships with other coaches in the community and athletes, that was a big positive. And then of course to get my first head coaching job at a place that already has a defense and a defensive coordinator in place like Coach Johnson was a big plus. So yeah.
So it's just thoughts initially. Just you've only been on the job for a few months, but what has been your impression so far of the team and being a head coach?
Being a head coach, you don't know like all the ins and outs, I guess, until it's you that's in charge. So trying to get the administrative stuff under control, that's been eye-opening. But overall, just first impressions of the team. I'm really excited about our number one guys. Like I think our top athletes can compete with anyone in the state. To prove that point to the boys themselves, for camp we went to Skyridge High School and played some bigger schools down there at their camp, and I loved our competition. I loved our energy. So I'm really excited about this group of boys that we have.
You got a lot of returning talent. I mean, guys who played significant roles last year, starters on both offense and defense. How helpful is that for you as a new head coach here, just knowing that I've got guys who they know how to play, they know how to compete at this, what they need to do in this region? How helpful is that for you getting or hitting the ground running when you already have all these returning starters?
It's been great, especially on the defensive side of the ball. A lot of those guys are coming back. They already have experience. So to have one side of the ball essentially taken care of, to already have that continuity built up, reps, they know their expectations. That's been huge because that's what we're trying to build offensively. We have quite a few guys who already have prior experience along the O-line. So those reps will be helpful for us right now. But just as we get like a new system installed and things like that, we're hoping to build that continuity as quickly as possible, but thankfully the defense has that. So
you mentioned these, you like the top guys that you have. Like, so who are some of those guys that you're expecting to play these big roles, star for the team this season?
Off the top of my head, the first guys I would talk about are the ones we expect to probably end up going both ways for us. First one would be Will Wheatley. So just the devastation that he can cause on defense and the chaos, I love. Schematically, that's what we're trying to do defensively. But then just as an individual, Will Wheatley can wreak havoc. So I love having that. Carter Stembridge, he's kind of moved around a little bit, did a little bit of D-line last year, but he's going to go back and play our alpha position, which is essentially another safety. So just getting him running around in space has been fun to see. I don't know that I've ever coached someone with his size and speed before, so he's been pretty impressive to see at practice. Next we have Dewey Egan. Dewey will definitely go both ways as a DB and a receiver for us. Dewey caught my attention when we were doing 7-on-7 camps throughout the summer, and just seeing him go up and make plays in double coverage was awesome. He made plays on both sides of the ball for us. And then Tanner Farron is kind of our go-go gadget guy. Great kid, great athlete, but he'll be starting as a safety. He has a role as a slot receiver for us. He has a role as a tight end for us. Right now he's punting. He can also long snap. So, yeah, Tanner Farron's a big dude for us.
You mentioned this earlier. You've got a lot of guys on your offensive line coming back who were starters last year, but you are breaking in a new quarterback. How helpful is that, having that experience up front as you figure out what your quarterback situation is going to look like?
It's been big, especially as we try to get into things like pass protection. Pass protection for the boys to mostly already be familiar with the pass pro system that we're installing. That's been nice. Obviously, we got to keep the quarterback healthy. We got to keep guys off of him, and then really to try to lean on that offensive line in the run game and take a little bit of pressure off our quarterback as he gets more reps in varsity games. That'll be big.
So obviously, breaking a new quarterback, new running back, you lost the two starters to those positions. I guess who are the guys you're expecting, at quarterback and running the ball, and even wide receiver aside from, I guess, Dewey Egan?
Okay. So our starting quarterback is going to be Peyton Wilson. What has stood out to me about Peyton so far is he consumes information and at a rate that I haven't seen in a player before. Really, for example, as we were trying to install some tempo, hurry up offense yesterday, myself and Coach Christensen, we probably talked to Peyton for about this hurry up offense for about 5 minutes, and in those 5 minutes he had it memorized. I mean, we're talking 6 to 8 different plays. He had it memorized. He could get it called at the line of scrimmage in the correct formation and everything. So just the rate that Peyton's being able to take in information has been huge to try to get our system installed. As far as taking some more pressure off of him, we have Ethan Cutler as a running back and Eric Oates. Those two, they're going to carry a big load for us. We like how both of them run. They can get downhill quickly. They can still make some extra cuts in space. And then another receiver that comes to mind is Hayden Schramm. He's only going to be a sophomore, but we think he's going to have a bright future for us. He's made big plays all summer for us. And Carter Stoddard is another receiver that we like to get out as well.
So you've kind of alluded to kind of your offensive philosophy and how you want to run things offensively, but what does your defense base kind of structure look like for you for Green Canyon this year?
Defensively, they are a 3-3 stack. We'll play with 5 DBs. Really, I know Coach Johnson and the experience that he has with his staff. Honestly, when I took the job, I wasn't worried about the defense. I knew that they'd get everything handled. Just as I had the opportunity to work with them or talk with them on schematics, the things that I asked of them were to create chaos, and I think they're certainly doing that.
So I know one thing I usually like to ask coaches, what kind of identity do you want to have as a team? Because Utah State, they want to be fast. Other teams, maybe they're playing like smash mouth, grinded out football. Like, what do you kind of expect your style and identity to be, at least team-wide?
Team-wide, I really want to be known for toughness. So to me, that means that we can be physical up front and run the ball. Most of my experience is on the defensive side of the ball, and so that's kind of the lens that I view football. An offense that can really protect the ball, time of possession, grind a defense down. That's what I'm looking for.
Again, we're talking to JT Tauiliili. Did I get that right?
Tauiliili.
Tauiliili. I think I threw in an extra vowel in there, maybe. But head coach for the Green Canyon Wolves. And you were a part of a state championship team at Lehigh. They won the 5A state championship. What was your role there, and what was that like being part of that process and going through and winning the state title and trying to bring that to that experience to Green Canyon?
It's been huge. First off, just for Coach Larson to give me the opportunity to get on his staff was big. I loved being in a culture and an environment that expected wins. Like, that was the expectation. Everyone knew it. So to be in that culture was huge. One thing that really stood out to me from Coach Larson is he taught me the production that high school football can become. So it's not just about X's and O's, but how you can make it fun for the kids and make sure that the community's involved. So that's something I really took away from his program that I appreciate. I got to stay with him for 2 years. My first year, I was just kind of like an extra offensive assistant. I started off as a receiver coach, tried to learn a little bit of their passing game. And then the second year, I got to go be the head sophomore coach. And then I helped mostly on the offensive side of the ball and a little bit with running backs. So that's what gave me my perspectives on offense, and that's why I'll be running as the OC at Green Canyon.
So just kind of one thing on the subject of, being on a team with championship culture and all that. Green Canyon has been a team that, I've observed they're kind of like always on the cusp of like taking that next step, because they're not, a bad program last year, very much an exception to, what's been a solid program, but they haven't taken that step into championship contention. I guess what's it going to take for Green Canyon to finally take that step and be a contender?
I think a lot of it is belief, right? Like, it's difficult to be able to picture yourself going deep into November, into the playoffs, into a tournament, and being able to visualize yourself winning. And so, again, that was one big reason why I wanted to take the boys down to Sky Ridge for summer camp, is I wanted them to see that, yes, there's other teams with great athletes, but again, our dudes can compete with anyone. And so I'm hoping those experiences, as we get some good competition both into North Logan and as we go on the road, that getting good quality competition for them can help open their eyes. And then since I've been through it, I hope I can instill that belief in them.
Just how healthy are you? Do you feel like you're healthy enough where you want to be? I know sometimes injuries happen, and they will happen over the course of the season, but how do you feel the health of your team is coming into the start of the season?
We're grateful for the health we have right now. We're good to go. We were able to get out of our scrimmage with one minor injury. We think for the most part he should be healed. If not this week, he'll be good to go for next. But yeah, other than that, we feel like we're healthy. We're ready to roll, which we're really excited about.
Just kind of look at your non-region schedule. Like, how do you feel about it in terms of, preparing you for region play? 'Cause I know Morgan, they're like one of the top three. I know they're 3A, but like they're the cream of the crop 3A.
Yes.
Just, them and some of the other teams, like, how do you feel like they'll test you heading into region play?
I think it'll be great. I mean, honestly, you could go about putting a non-region schedule multiple ways, but our region is just, historically, it's been so competitive, and I feel like there's always been parity throughout it, that you have to get challenges early on if you want to compete. The thing I like about Hunter is when you play Hunter, you learn how tough you are. Like, it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be physical. And so I want to know if our kids can handle getting punched in the mouth and come back from that. As you said, Morgan obviously has a great tradition of winning. And so just being able to play a competitive team that knows what it takes is something that our kids are trying to learn. And then Stansbury's had great success. That'll be a big game for us.
Well, Coach, it's an exciting new era of high school football for Green Canyon. Always like to see, you're not the only new coach. Logan's got a new coach.
Yep.
And then we look at, Mountain Crest and Bear River. This is only their second year. So there's a lot of new coaches in this region. So it's really exciting. And wish you the best of luck this upcoming season. For those who want to follow Green Canyon, Stockton Jukes and Adam Lurcher, they're our new play-by-play team to follow the Wolves as they go throughout the season. Those games are broadcast on 100.9 Light FM and video streaming on CashValleyDaily.com. So best of luck, Coach, and best of luck to the Wolves.
Thank you. Appreciate it.